You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly pop and geek culture show covering movies, TV, games, and comics. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that is back from its short 1 week hiatus.
Yeah, it took a little sabbatical or what have you, whatever. But yeah, we're back, better than ever. I'm Sam.
I had whatever the opposite of a vacation is, but that's neither here nor there. I'm Cody.
And I'm Samantha.
Yeah, and we have an extra special guest with us for the first half of the show. We have Josh Nealis, the guy behind Cutthroat Comics. Josh, thank you for coming on the show, man.
Oh, thank you guys for having me, as always.
Yeah, back again. I think it was about this time last year that we had you on, talking about your comics and whatnot. And from what I understand, before we get into the check them out and stuff, I want to talk a little bit about that. So you have a new comic coming out here soon, is that right?
That is absolutely correct. Could not be a more true statement.
Well, cool. Yeah, and it's on Kickstarter as well. So this will be the fourth in the Turkey Sharks series?
Yeah, it's the fourth issue. I think it's our third Kickstarter. I was trying to remember the other day. I think we did 1 and 2 together because I had already put out the first one. But yeah, I mean, this is the fourth one. We're really digging into the story arcs and the meat of the story and stuff, and it's a fun one. For the collectors out there, I usually tell them, I think there's 3 first appearances and a wedding. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this one. So it's definitely a collectible issue in 50 years.
Well, there you go. All right. Awesome. So I guess with Turkey Sharks, is it going to have, is it going to be is it a limited series, or is it an ongoing thing, or is there going to be like an endpoint to these, or is it just kind of rolling story, kind of like a lot of modern comics?
I mean, right now I don't have any plans of like killing everybody or rebooting everything or anything like that. I mean, as long as I keep having like ridiculously stupid ideas, I'll probably keep making this one.
Awesome.
I do have another miniseries I'm getting ready to start on, but that's down the road a ways.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, right on. I was actually going to ask you if you had anything else coming up, because I know you do books as well, and the Cutthroat does a lot of different things. So
I started the 3rd installment of the Hellscape series a couple weeks ago or something like that, or a week ago. I'm like, I think I'm getting close to 10,000 words in it already.
Wow. All right. Excellent.
Yeah, and then hopefully here pretty soon we've got Tales of Shock and Terror 2 will be hitting Kickstarter as well.
Okay, cool. So I don't know, you've had a lot of experience with Kickstarters and that sort of thing since you've kickstarted many of your comics and books and whatnot. Has the process gotten easier over the years with the Kickstarter? Have things changed over the years? How is setting it up now, I guess, compared to back in the day?
I don't know. They've added a lot more features and stuff, but I don't know. Like, for me, it seems like it's more difficult. I don't know if there's more people using Kickstarter, so like it's spreading everybody out. I've heard a lot of people talk about the economy, which I don't know. I don't like to make excuses, if that makes sense.
Sure,
I just feel like I got really busy because, like we talked about before we started recording, like I started buying comic book collections on top of my day job, on top of having a child by myself. So I put too much on my plate. So I probably could have sank more into promoting this Kickstarter and stuff. But I mean, it's still doing okay. We're not quite halfway through yet. I mean, we hit our very reasonable funding goal, but really all the fun stuff doesn't happen until after we hit $1,000. That's when I start signing books, and we're doing COAs and all kinds of stuff like that. Free PDFs and.
Okay. Well, I mean, from looking at your Kickstarter, you are getting fairly close to that $1,000 mark. And have one last question before we get into the show. Kind of a dumb thing. I noticed that when you hit 1,000, was there something about the one chip challenge that you were going to do?
Oh, yeah. So if we get 50 backers.
Okay, 50 backers.
And $2,000.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
We've never. I'm not. A lot of people do really, really well with Kickstarters. I think they put, like a lot of comic book people, that's where they make their hay, I guess. For me, I'm more of a do signings and cons and stuff like that. Like I'm not so much a techie person as I am a face-to-face, like, you see how handsome I am and my beautiful smile, so you buy my books. Like, I don't know what it is. So I'm not like great at online stuff as where other guys maybe, who are younger than me are. But, one thing I started saying recently was when people walk up to my table and I say, hey, what kind of comics do you like? And they say, well, Marvel, DC, which is great. I like that stuff too. But I like to tell them, like, our quality is just as good. Our stories, the paper we use, the printing, I mean, the art, the writing, because I'm the writer, of course. We're just as good. We just don't have the huge, giant millions of dollars or billions of dollars behind us yet. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Well, hopefully, you said you're about halfway through. So about how many days would you say is left on it?
What are we, like 23, 22, something like that? It ends on July 7th is when it ends.
July 7th, so at least a couple more weeks. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully, folks can run over to the Kickstarter. Where would be the easiest place for folks to find the link to the Kickstarter and all your work and stuff?
I mean, you can go to cutthroatcomics.com, but I don't have the links on there yet. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I mean, you can check any of our socials, Facebook, Twitter. You can just go to Kickstarter.com and type in the search bar Turkey Sharks. It'll pop up. But, for people that like, superhero stories, but mine are very different. I know, Sam, you've bought a couple of them. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of silliness, but at the same time, there's substance there.
Oh, absolutely. I love your series. I think I actually really, really liked Stingray, the one of the earlier ones, and he's a member of the Turkey Sharks. The Turkey Sharks, I guess we should have mentioned, is almost like the Avengers kind of all your various characters come together.
Yeah, I was doing 3 series, and we kind of closed off the story arcs, and now we're just doing 1 series of all that, because you get a good blend of all the dumbness and the darkness and all that.
Well, all the characters seem to kind of play off each other really, really well.
Yep.
And that's cool. And that's really awesome that since you've been the sole author on these characters, that you're really able to kind of help them kind of mesh together. Whereas, other comic series, they're just taking characters created from this place and that place and whatever, and seeing what sticks. Since, it's one unified vision of the series, they all kind of mesh together. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah. For instance, like we've got Ginger Avenger, who's dealing with the stress of becoming a superhero, as where, like Shazam, he transformed into the superhero, so he doesn't look like himself. Mm-hmm. So he's like dealing with he'll look in the mirror and he doesn't see himself anymore. But then, of course, his best friend is Zebo, the drunk homeless robot, who's like an extremely bad influence. So he just gets him drunk all the time, which exacerbates his depression. So it's just kind of a
yeah, kind of a vicious cycle there. Yeah, yep. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, go run over to the Cutthroat. You're pretty active on Facebook, so that's probably where most folks find you. I'd imagine. So place, okay. Well, right on. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into some of our weekly check 'em outs and stuff. And Josh, if you want to hang around and join us for that, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
Okay, great. We'll hit the jingle and then we'll jump into it.
Check it out.
All right, so yeah, some things we've been doing. I guess the last couple of weeks, since we've actually had a couple of weeks off here. But Josh, since you're the guest,
yeah, let the guest go first.
Why don't we let you go first?
Sorry, hang on.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
My kid turned his TV on and it was like super loud.
Sorry. Yeah, no worries, man.
What was the question?
Well, I was just saying, since you're the guest, I figure, we'll let you go first. What have you been doing? I guess in the recent, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we always talk about what we're watching and playing and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gee. Well, I finished The Flash, the TV show, and that was, it is what it is. I enjoyed a lot of it. Not, all of it was fine. I enjoyed a lot of it, though.
Of all the CW superhero shows and stuff, I really think I like The Flash the best. I think they really got the character a little more than Arrow and whatnot.
Well, and there was a lot of fan service in it.
There was, yeah.
And I don't know. I might put Arrow above it, but like Flash is my favorite DC character, so I really enjoyed all that. Mm-hmm. And Supergirl was cool too. And no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, I found it even a little bit preachy at times. So that kind of was like, all right, let's can we just have fun here and watch a superhero show?
Sure, yeah.
Even though again, I'm sort of drifty that way anyway, but still, even I was like, all right, let's just have fun here. The Great on what's that on Hulu? You guys watch that one?
Oh yeah, that's a good show. That's a really good show.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. That was really good. I've been trying to play Far Cry 6, but being as busy as I am, I've been playing it for like 3 months, and I haven't even barely done any of the story. I'm just doing all the side quests.
That seems to happen a lot with Far Cry games, where you get distracted by every other little tick on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm finding that with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
oddly
me
enough,
too.
I'm I try to sit down and play a little bit of it, and my gaming time these days are so few and far in between that I kind of have to try to remember where I'm at, and then I get distracted by something, end up not doing anything of consequence in the game, and I'm right back where I started, basically.
Yeah, I got to the point where like I knew it was starting to wrap up, and I didn't want it to end, so I was just out there doing every like little side quest and mission just to like extend the time with the game.
Oh, gotcha.
Which I did eventually get around. I did finish it yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
The end is really good. There's some plot stuff that you haven't really seen in a Zelda game before. I don't know. It's just such a good game. It's so good.
Cool.
Like, as the credits roll, I sat there and thought, wow, that was something really special, and I'm glad I'm alive at the same time as it is, so I get to play it. Like,
I think about that kind of stuff all the time. Like, whenever I die, there's gonna be like MCU movies coming out that I'm never gonna get to see, and it like makes me so sad.
Well, speaking of Marvel stuff, the other thing you had mentioned, we were talking a little bit before the show, as you mentioned, you got a chance to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Is that right?
I did, and let me tell you exactly how it ends.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Thanks. Yeah, no, we haven't had a chance to watch it here, but yeah, if you want to give your kind of a non-spoilery or light spoilery kind of opinions of it, I guess. I know the first one was fantastic. I can't wait to see this new one.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything, because that's like a pet peeve of mine. Like on socials, if somebody posts a spoiler, I'm like, you're deleted. Instant, no explanation, like you're gone. No, it's I want to say that I still like the first one just a hair better, but this one, I think this one might take a couple watches, because there was a lot going on. Mm-hmm. It's really fun. I thought it could have been a little bit more funny, but the animation like gets a little artsy fartsy at times, and I think that's a good thing, because it puts you back into when you watch the first one. I was sitting there watching like, I've never seen anything like this before. And so they kind of took it up even another notch with this one. So it's cool. It's got enough fun. It's got a little bit of funny. It's got heart and stuff. My only knock on it was like some of the pacing was a little off. Like it would come to like a screeching halt from time to time. But other than that, it was very enjoyable.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that is interesting. I have heard some other folks have a similar opinion of it. Maybe the first one being just a little bit better. I think it's really cool. Yeah, you mentioned the animation and stuff. Like, so a lot of the different spider people from different universes, the different universes are animated differently. Is that right? Yeah,
and they even kind of jump. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, like, it's cool. Like, well, and like even some of the camera angles and shots and the way they film certain scenes and some of the tones they use for, when characters are feeling certain emotions and stuff. I mean, it's really interesting.
Oh, cool.
You can tell they put a lot of thought and work into it, and that's what I appreciate in a lot of films, when you can tell like they really care.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really clear that the creators really care about this the property and the project and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, unlike, I don't want to knock anybody too much, but like that second Venom movie was like atrocious.
As much as I loved the first Venom movie for it being just a dumb stupid throwback to like the early Marvel movies before the MCU and stuff like that, where it's just kind of like, this is just a standalone dumb movie. The second one, it just wasn't, it didn't quite have that spark, I guess.
Yeah, it was borderline unwatchable, really. And like even Morbius wasn't that bad. I felt like it wasn't great, but it was at least watchable. I don't know. The second Venom was just
there were at least points in Morbius that you can go, okay, I could see what they're trying to do here.
right.
I mean, I still think I personally think Morbius was a little bit worse than Venom 2, but not by much. Just because of some of the choices they made in Morbius were just, I don't know. I don't know.
The thing I like about Spider-Verse is that it takes like this pop culture character that everybody knows and everybody knows the lore and everybody loves Spider-Man and does something like artful and interesting and smart with it and takes it to another level instead of it just being regurgitating things that people like. Like, I don't want to harp on the Mario movie more because I've done that a lot, but like that's how you don't do it. And then Spider-Verse is how you do it when you're taking a legacy, like, pop culture character like that. It's so night and day between the two movies. Like,
yeah, I don't know. My kid was watching Mario the other day, and I think I watched a little bit of it. I think I had to take a nap, though. I was, like, cruising on empty, so... But, I mean, you know, and another good thing about the Spider-Verse movies is as a comic book fan and collector, and somebody that buys and flips like books and stuff, like all the characters and all that is like really it's made me some money, so I appreciate that.
Well, that's good too, you know.
I know I got a first appearance of Spider-Gwen and Miles on my wall that both of them I think I paid $130 for, and now they're like near $2,000 books. So
that's impressive. That's awesome.
They're not in my house. They're in a locked box. So anybody listening, don't find me. They're not here.
All right. Well, tell you what, I'll do the one thing that I kind of checked out. So I've talked in the past about Studio 35 down in Columbus. They do from time to time. They used to do these bad midnight movie kind of things once a month called Bad Movie Night. And a number of months ago, the guy who had done it for like 10 years, and they're like a lot of work that goes into them because there's a lot of like editing. He puts a lot of funny stuff, like a lot of finds a million clips, and
he edits a feature length film.
Basically, yeah. He decided, you know what, it's too much work. I kind of want to move on to other projects and not really do this. People have been basically since it ended. People have been asking, hey, is it coming back? Is it ever coming back? Are we going to see more of this stuff? So he did not a Bad Movie Night, but he did a bad movie double feature. The movies were edited down, but there were no like extra clips or things spliced into it like he would with the other stuff. So it was less work, but it was a bad dinosaur movie double feature. And they were pretty rotten. The first one was Carnosaur. That was done by the Roger Corman.
That sounds
films.
Really familiar.
Yeah, it was. I mean, both of the movies were made around 92, 93, or I guess 93, 94, trying to get some of the
that Jurassic Park money.
That Jurassic Park money, yeah. So the first one, basically, a scientist decided that humans shouldn't be on Earth anymore and started genetically creating dinosaurs and. I mean, the film does feature a woman giving birth to a dinosaur.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Because the whole thing was, it's a genetic... the way she's going to populate the Earth with dinosaurs, she created a airborne virus that made women sick, and then dinosaurs pop out of them. Yeah. It was weird. It was weird. It was really bad.
It's like how the Gorn are canonically born now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right. The funny thing is they got, I forget the actress's name, but she's the mother of Laura Dern, who was in Jurassic Park to play the scientist. So it was very clearly like, we are just going to steal as much thunder from Jurassic Park as possible.
We need to get someone at least ancillarily related to Jurassic Park in some way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have Laura Dern's mom's number. Well, get her on the phone.
Get her on the phone, yeah.
Spared no expense, right?
Exactly. Well, the other one, you know, they were so concerned about whether they could do it. They should have decided whether they should do it. No, the second movie they picked, also from the Roger Corman group, Dinosaur Island, which
you could call Jurassic Park that also.
You could, but this one was less about dinosaurs and more about bikini cave women. I did some reading up. It was rotten. It might have been the worst thing I've ever seen. I think I lost years off my life watching it.
It was like Breen level.
It was pretty bad. And like the dinosaur puppets were hand puppets that they superimpose over the screen because they couldn't get the animatronics they had. They were going to use the animatronics from Carnosaur in this one because, if you're making movies on the cheap, you got to reuse props. Well, they couldn't get it to work. So they just used hand puppets and like superimposed them over.
Roller gator, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Was it like the the old Burger King Land Before Time hand puppets?
You know what? Some of those some of the T-Rex ones were not that far off, actually. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But reading up on it, it was two of the more established directors from Corman's group. One of which did Chopping Mall.
Oh,
the one about the killer robots in the mall
movie.
attacking teens. But they were like, we shot this in 14 days. We shot this on David Carradine's plantation backlot because we needed somewhere with desert that we wouldn't get in trouble for having topless women around. And there was almost no plot. It was maybe the worst thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was almost impressive how bad it was.
That's high anti-praise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was rough.
A connoisseur of film garbage.
Yeah, we went. Yeah, went down with the group, and we all agreed that Carnosaur. Yeah, it was cheesy, but at least it looked like a movie. This looked like someone's weird VHS home movie in someone's backyard with hand puppets and stuff. It was
somebody's straight to VHS softcore puppet film.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. You're not too far off there. But no, that's really been the highlight of what I've been doing.
We watched the new Star Trek.
Oh yeah, we're all caught up on the new Star Trek, Brave New Worlds.
Oh yeah, that's the one with Pike and
yes.
Yeah.
It's very good Trek. Mm-hmm. Very, very Trek, I guess.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems more like actual Star Trek with like thought put into the stories and not just bang, bang, explosion. Although there's going to be a little bit of that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but there's also a lot of
cheese.
Yeah, it's also really a little bit cheesy in a good way.
Oh, good. Well, that's the best Star Trek. It's got to have a light layer of cheese on it.
Like in the newest episode when Spock takes command for the first time and he's telling the ship to go, she drives the ship basically. I forget what that's called.
Oh, like the pilot or navigator or something like that.
She's like, what's your thing? Like, what are you gonna say? Everybody has a different thing they say when they want the ship to go. Like Pike says, hit it. What are you gonna say, Spock? And Spock goes, I would like the ship to go now.
Zooms in on his face.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna say something cool.
Oh, that's great.
And the guy that plays Spock does a really good job. Like, he sounds like Spock.
He sounds like, kind of like a Nimoy-ish kind of. Yeah. I think it's really interesting that they're kind of doing the prior adventures of the Enterprise with like, because they had from the original series, they had that one episode, was it the Man Trap or something like that, or
the one where Pike's in the little box.
The beat box. Yeah.
Which they allude to there's a future event and this is episode 1 stuff. There's a future event that for some reason Pike knows about. Like he had a premonition or something, and he knows like something bad is going to happen, and he's going to have to sacrifice himself to save a bunch of cadets or kids. So he knows he has just like we all know, that he has a bad future coming.
Interesting. That's a really cool way of kind of giving the character a little extra,
Yeah, in the season finale of the first season, like there's some time travel stuff that's fun.
Oh, of course, because
that's fun and cool.
Okay, it's fun and cool, not like later Star Trek time travel stuff.
No, it's good.
It's not Picard time travel stuff.
I don't know enough about Picard to know, but it kind of like goes outside the timeline, so it doesn't like
affect stuff.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like cliche time travel shenanigans. It's just him seeing what happens if he tries to change his bad future.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, hey, we're actually getting pretty close to the break here, but before we go, I want to give you, Josh, another chance to kind of promote your stuff, let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, cutthroatcomics.com is pretty easy. It's CUTTH. I'm doing a lot more on TikTok, which it's starting to grow slowly on that app. But yeah, most importantly, I mean, the Kickstarter runs till July 7th. If we get 50 backers and $2,000, I'll do a Facebook Live, and I'll probably post it on Snapchat and TikTok as well, at least the clips of me doing the one chip challenge.
Which is like a spicy thing, right?
It's supposed to be pretty hot. I've seen people even like wearing gloves, like just to touch the chip. So
yeah,
wow.
I think it comes with gloves to put on when you're handling the chip.
Wow.
But yeah, if you like superhero comics, but you like them, a little bit different, a little bit zany, a little bit silly, but it's got some heart and some darkness in there too. Like Turkey Sharks is where it's at.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, Josh Nealis, thank you again for coming on the show, and can't wait to talk to you, later down the road for, future projects, man.
Awesome. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. We'll be right back. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play here on WZMO. Long Play is a show that appeals to music lovers of all ages. Here's an example.
I love long play.
There you have it. A completely unsolicited endorsement for one of our youngest fans.
Grandpa, where's my candy?
Ellie, be cool.
Grandpa!
Ellie and I would like to invite you to tune into Long Play every Friday at 11 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on 104.7
WCMO.
Hey, you made it through that ad break. Congratulations. We are back, and we're going to talk about some news. Yeah, we have a few things here to talk about this week. Some game stuff, but we found some other stuff as well. So why don't we jump in to that Xbox and I guess Bethesda, kind of, because it's all kind of the same thing.
And there was Jeffy's game show.
Oh yeah, Jeffy's summertime game show instead of Jeffy's wintertime game show.
Yeah, Summer Games Fest.
Yes.
But let's do the Xbox one first.
We're not covering everything, but we're just kind of doing some highlights and stuff like that, I think.
They opened with a new Fable game, which is cool. That's a good franchise.
Yeah.
And this time it seems like they're kind of playing on like a fairy tale motif, because there was a Jack and the Beanstalk style giant that was also Richard Ayoade.
Oh, nice.
So, and it was all cinematic. I don't think there was any gameplay, was there?
Not that I remember.
No, I don't think so.
Don't know anything about it except he's there.
Yeah, and it's
very big, large man.
Yeah, there's a large Richard Ayoade, which sure, he's funny. Yeah,
he's a funny guy. If he's funny at normal size, I assume he's probably funnier at large size.
Yeah, maybe 10 times more. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was like this like Southern Gothic kind of a game with a giant skeleton man playing the blues on a guitar.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, and then a character comes out and they're like hunting for a monster, I guess. So it's some sort of Southern Gothic monster hunting game called South of Midnight, which it didn't have any gameplay either.
That's been kind of the running theme with a lot of these this year, because this is basically not E3.
Yeah,
E3 doesn't
exactly.
exist, but all the game companies are releasing stuff around the same time. And yeah, it's been a lot of cinematic or faked in-game. I've noticed there was some of that where like there's some in-game, like they threw a fake HUD on the screen to make you think that you're watching in-game, and it's not.
Yeah, and the stuff with like where the camera is panning way too smoothly and slowly to be anyone actually playing a video game.
Yep.
Which I'd rather watch a cinematic trailer than a fake gameplay trailer.
Yeah. If you're gonna make something up, lie to my face. Don't. Yeah.
But it looks neat. Southern Gothic is a cool setting. I like.
Doesn't get a lot of play, but it is a cool setting.
I like zombies playing the blues guitar.
Mm-hmm.
After that, there was another cinematic trailer.
Made me think of Mr. Bones.
Not Mr. Bones. Sega Saturn classic Mr.
Bones, yeah.
There was a new another cinematic trailer for a new Ubisoft Star Wars game called Star Wars Outlaws that looked cool. Apparently there is gameplay footage of this one if you look. I mean, I guess you would have had to have watched Ubisoft's press conference, which I'm not going to.
No.
I'm not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
I don't got the time for that. But like, it looks like a cool open world Star Wars game with a cool lady protagonist that has a cute little monster that runs, a cute Star Wars monster that runs around with her.
Yeah.
Star Wars Outlaws sounds like an interesting premise. Maybe do some smuggling.
Nice.
No lightsabers, so we're out of that baggage.
Okay. All right. You know what? Let's talk about Starfield a little bit, because that was kind of the big...
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of the big thing.
It had its own, like, separate presentation afterwards.
Yeah, and it was like an hour... What was it? An hour... I watched some of it, and it was like an hour-long thing, and at least 30 minutes of it was devoted to people talking about the game, but not showing the game.
Oh, they showed a lot of it, though. They really did.
They did? All right.
And, I mean, it looks good. It looks kind of just like Bethesda iterating on the stuff they've already done in like Fallout and stuff, but in space, which sure.
To me, it looked like Bethesda, but someone telling them, you can't release a broken game, make this better.
Yeah. Microsoft was doing that.
Yeah, because before they, had free reign to just, put out a half-broken product.
Cough, cough, Fallout 76.
Or even like first runs of Skyrim and stuff like that. A lot of their games are built on the same code base where bugs persisted through each game, essentially, and were never fixed.
Yeah.
And now they have someone in charge of them going, no, you're going to fix this. Hey, Todd, you're going to fix this.
And they talked about how they're going for like this NASA punk aesthetic, and I love it. I think
it was pretty cool.
Really cool looking.
I like what I saw of it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I'm a pretty big mark for like sci-fi adventure stuff, and that's what this is. And I hope to God it's good. It could really go either way.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Or they're done.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, Microsoft really does need it to be good after what happened with the vampire one with Redfall. Which is not good.
No.
Which Microsoft needed this whole presentation to be good, and it was. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. Like I would recommend. Can't talk. I would recommend just sitting down and watching it because there's a lot of cool stuff that's worth seeing.
Yeah.
They even made Microsoft Flight Simulator seem interesting by putting Dune in it.
And hot air balloons.
Yeah.
There are hot air balloons in it. If you ever had a dream of piloting a hot air balloon but not actually wanting to die.
You can also do that in Zelda. But But this is simulated. It'll be a lot more complicated.
Yeah. You have to have a flight stick for this one or something.
Yeah, and they've added like missions and stuff, like actual.
Oh, there's a game to it now.
Yeah, there's a game in there now. It's not just fly plane, land plane.
Nice.
Or in the Dune one, fly ornithopter.
Ornithopter.
Land ornithopter.
Yeah. So other game stuff. The Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley had to talk a lot. During it,
he paraded himself out, danced around like a little puppet man.
He got to meet a new celebrity this time.
Oh yeah, this time it was Nick Cage.
This time he got to become best friends with Nick Cage, which I swear part of the Games Fest thing. I mean, I know he does care about video games and the video game industry. He's been a reporter in it forever, and this is his life. But there is a small part of me that goes, he just does this to meet celebrities, right? Like he did this just to meet. What was it last year? It was Al Pacino and Green Day.
Yeah.
And before that, it was
Al
like
Pacino there. I don't even remember.
He was talking about something. I don't know what.
I don't even remember what he was there for.
He was there to talk about the games. Hooah! It's got great pixels.
Because Nick Cage is appearing as a survivor in Dead by Daylight.
And who is he playing? Nick Cage. He's playing. Yes, they asked him. I think Jeff was taken a little aback by how theatrical Nick Cage was being on stage because he's used to celebrities being like, I'm in this game and I'm going to talk about it.
I don't really
And-
want to be here.
Because he asks, okay, so what are you doing in this game? He goes, well, you see, I'm playing a heightened version of this actor by the name of Nick Cage. He thought he was filming a movie, but he blacked out and found himself in the woods and did like this whole thing. And like, yeah, it was great.
He was Nick Cage. He Nick Caged
He
it up
Nick
on
Caged it.
stage.
And you know what? He plays games. He's a he does
yeah.
play games. He does do stuff. He's
I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
All of like the frankly kind of dorky stuff that he has bought over the years.
oh
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the stuff that he's into other than games. You know, video games are also on that list.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So speaking of celebrity things, John Carpenter's Toxic Commandos.
Yeah.
It looks like a generic drive around shoot 'em game, but also stupid.
Yeah. Zombie game that doesn't take itself seriously and has John Carpenter's name on it for some reason.
No, not for some reason. John Carpenter plays a lot of video games.
Oh yeah, the dude loves video games. Yeah.
What was it? Was it Far Cry or it was something? Dead Space. He has talked about wanting to do a film adaptation of Dead Space for years because that is like his favorite video game.
They should let him do it. That would be excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude's a huge gamer and like always has been.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. So maybe the game will be good. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm down for a zombie game as long as it doesn't take itself seriously. I feel like the last several we've gotten have been way too dour and The Last of Us.
You know what? I would be fine with it being a generic game, but with John Carpenter's band's music.
Yeah,
It's that synth metal that he does.
That's the other thing that I was wondering if he was going to do the soundtrack
Oh, I
to it or
bet.
not.
I guarantee he's at least got a song on it because, like, he's known almost as much for his music now than his films. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what he tours. That's what he does now. He tours with his band and does concerts of his film music to synth metal.
And that's the only thing he did with the last couple Halloween movies was the score.
Yeah, and they're great. They're great.
It's probably the best part.
Yeah.
No, Jamie Lee Curtis is
Jamie
the best
Lee
part.
Curtis is the best part. Well, yeah. Let's see. What were some
Also,
of the...
Keanu was there to shill on Cyberpunk and the
Oh,
new
he was,
DLC,
wasn't he? Yeah.
which is apparently very good, I've heard.
Apparently, they rebuilt the game from the ground up. They took the time that they actually needed to complete the game, and it's not just the DLC. It is a reworking of the entire system from the back to square one.
Yeah, it's gonna be the game everyone thought it was going to be. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be that because people's expectations were way too high to begin with.
Well, sure.
But it's gonna be a much better game.
It'll
now,
be much more playable.
which I didn't think it was that bad when it came
I know,
out.
you
If you were
were-
playing it
yeah.
on PC.
Yeah. Well, people...
That's the problem. No one was playing it on
Nobody
PC.
was playing it on PC. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I also heard that the YouTube documentary person, the Spear Hunter, is a voice.
Oh, they put Susie in the game?
They put Susie in the game. She's she's voicing a character that looks like Cyberpunk Susie, but she's
That's
a
cool.
character in the game now because she really championed the game when
she
it first
was
came out.
one of the main proponents of it. It's
Yeah.
a good game, actually.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I think that's at least a couple of her videos were.
Yeah.
It's a good game, actually. Geez. What were some of the other big ones? They did, well, the big one at the end was the Final Fantasy VII 2.
Which you don't have to show me any more of that. I'm going to buy it when it comes out. Don't worry about it.
I was impressed that it is coming out on 2 discs,
Yeah.
2 Blu-rays. That's a big game. That's a beefy one.
That's a
That's a big
spicy
boy.
meatball. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's talk about maybe Tifa's the one that dies this time.
That's what I hear.
I don't
and
know.
that the Tifa that we've been playing with so far is not actually Tifa.
not the original Tifa
Yeah.
from Nibelheim,
Yeah.
which would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
I don't know.
What if she is secretly Genova?
That would be wild.
But like does it like amnesiac Genova or something?
Yeah, maybe she thinks she's Tifa, but she's not. I don't know.
Something.
I just don't want them to kill Tifa because she's the best girl.
She's pretty great. She is pretty good. I think it's hilarious. There was an interview with one of the game devs, and I mean, I understand why they had to say this, because you're not going to say the opposite, but like they asked the game dev, is this a good jumping on point for the series? And he said, oh yeah, sure. The game will get you caught up, so you don't have to play the first one. It is, if you've never experienced the Final Fantasy franchise, this is a great place to jump in. No, it's not.
No.
Not even a little bit.
I don't even think the first one really is that good of a jumping off point.
It's not.
The first
because-
remake.
No, it references everything.
I mean, I think you could play it and still enjoy it,
get something out of it.
but you won't get the deep.
You won't get why things are weird.
Yeah,
Because that was the overriding feeling in that game, I thought, was if you played the original and you know the franchise, even if you have a cursory knowledge of the franchise, because there's a lot, but like you'd play it and go, boy, something's not right. If this is a straight remake, that's not right.
yeah, something. Well,
Something's up.
It's very much like the Evangelion rebuilds. I think that is what they looked at and said, we're going to do that, but with Final Fantasy.
We're going to
7.
tell people it's a remake, but it's actually a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually really excited for Ever Crisis. They finally showed off some of that and gave
for a
a
phone
little
game
bit of
that looks really cool.
It looks really good. I mean, I have a cell phone emulator on my PC specifically for this
for
game
when that comes out.
because I'm going to play it on an actual screen with an actual controller. But yeah, it's yeah.
Is it an Android emulator?
Yeah, it's an Android emulator. It's
Then
BlueStack.
You can sign up and get in the open beta for it.
And I'm probably going to sometime this weekend. But no, and that's supposed, from what I understand, that is supposed to be a more traditional retelling of all of the previous games. So I think that's the one that'll get people caught up.
Yeah. And it has the stuff that we never got, like the weird cell phone games. Like it'll recap those stories.
And there's actually new content in the form of giving an actual story to the first soldier, the MMO. Or not the MMO, the Fortnite knockoff. They're actually giving a little bit of a story to fit that in with everything.
May it rest in peace.
Yeah.
I still think it would have done so much better if it got a console port
Agreed.
or a
Well,
PC,
same with
or
this.
even
It's
a
not
PC
gonna
port.
Same with Ever Crisis. It's not going to do well because it's not a PC game.
Yeah,
but-
the only people that want to play games on their phone are people who want to match 3 objects.
Sure. Or catch Pokemons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'll
about
say that as someone who will play a game where you match 3 objects. That's about all I want to do on a phone.
I tell you what, Vampire Survivor is probably one of my favorite things to play on a phone because it's just active enough.
Yeah, and you don't have to push buttons.
Yeah. It's not a totally idle game, but there's just enough for you to do.
Oh, did you see any footage of the new Monster Hunter? The Niantic Monster Hunter game?
I haven't seen any footage of it.
Monster Hunter Now. It looks very good. It looks like an actual video game.
Really? Boy, I can't wait to see how Niantic screws this one up.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't.
Hopefully
But-
they don't, but boy, every other game that hasn't been Pokemon Go, they just haven't been able to recapture the spark. And the stuff they're doing in Pokemon Go,
They're doing their best to ruin it.
it seems as though they want to ruin the series.
Even the Pikmin game, which was a good start, they just did. I feel like there was something they could have added something more. There was something missing that they just never got around
Yeah.
to.
Their original IP, Peridot, was fun for a little bit. It's basically a AR Tamagotchi, essentially, is what it is. But I had to delete it off my phone because I was getting like 5-6 push notifications a day.
Oh, God.
And not to be like, hey, your animal would like to play or your animal would like to eat. It's like, this new thing is in the shop on sale. Buy it now. Buy. Money.
Ugh.
And I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done with this.
But they showed some footage of the new Monster Hunter there was a Capcom showcase because of course there was.
Of course there was.
But there's actual like dodging and attacking and fighting monsters
Oh, nice.
in groups and this is a franchise that actually fits
It kind of lends itself to the
yeah.
whole thing. Yeah.
because the game's all about going out in nature and scavenging objects and fighting monsters, which
With
fits-
other people.
Yeah.
Which is their big push.
which fits the theme better than the NBA.
Yeah.
I still can't believe they tried to make basketball go.
Yeah, if we go to the Starbucks, there's a shiny shack.
You can get your mega evolved Kevin Durant.
Uh-huh.
That was the first basketball player I could think of. That wasn't like someone who hasn't played basketball in 30 years.
Well, I almost said a legendary Kobe, but yeah.
Yeah, you can't get that one anymore.
You can't that. No, that one's not available. So let's move on. We have some non-game stuff. We should probably go ahead and wrap up. We have about 10 minutes
I
left.
know
here.
we probably missed 1,000 things, but hey,
we
hit what we hit.
We hit what we hit, and that's all right. We're a light dusting of news.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah. So a couple of things.
Although,
yes,
I would be remiss not mentioning the Monkey Island expansion.
Of course.
For
Of
Sea of
course.
Thieves, that looks really great. It's a good combination. Both franchises are silly pirates, so it's a good combination.
it is a good mix. Yeah.
The big issue is they didn't get Ron Gilbert, the creator of the game, involved in any way.
Bummer.
He didn't even really know about it until right before they announced it, apparently.
Oh, shoot.
Which is kind of a real stinker move. But he said, whatever. I hope it's good because I love Monkey Island too. So
Yeah.
so you can still play it and not feel guilty.
Okay. Oh, good. So a couple of things. So McDonald's has been really pushing this whole Grimace's birthday thing.
Yeah, and I love the Grimace. Yeah, he's one of my favorite McDonald Land characters. He's
Yeah.
a big purple dumb milkshake loving. What is he? I wanted to say man, but
He's not a man.
he's not a man.
I believe he's technically livestock. According to that one video we watched, he's technically livestock.
And it's fun to see the McDonald Land characters back without Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
Too. They had pictures like of his birthday party, and Ronald was noticeably absent.
Yeah. Well, they had that falling out years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only McDonald Land characters at his birthday party was like the Hamburglar, which is a little weird. I guess maybe that's why Ronald wasn't there.
Yeah, maybe.
You can't get those two in the same room.
No,
It doesn't
no.
end well. Birdie the early bird, and I think maybe the McNugget buddies were
Okay.
there.
There weren't any Fry Kids?
No.
Bummer. I always liked the extended universe characters like Mayor McCheese,
Yeah.
Officer Big Mac, Captain.
The McFish captain. I
Yeah,
can't remember what
the
his name
McFish
is.
captain.
They're all ripoffs of Sid and Marty Krofft characters, but you know what?
Well,
that's
not just
fine.
ripoffs. They were created.
Oh,
by
that's right.
Sid and Marty Krofft.
And then McDonald's kicked Sid and Marty Krofft off of the project, and then just kept all the stuff they made.
Yeah, and then in retaliation, they made HR Puffin stuff because that was the original idea was a McDonald Land show.
Do you think the flute was instead of French fry that he blew on?
Yes, absolutely, I do, absolutely. But
They made a Game Boy Color game with the Grimace.
Yeah, I saw that.
I played all the way through it today.
yeah,
It's a pretty solid game.
he's like skateboarding and stuff, right?
Yeah, the first level is skateboard, the second level is regular platforming, and then also the third level is too, but you get in a bubble and can jump around.
Gotcha.
But it plays like better than you would expect a game about the Grimace on Game Boy Color to play.
Nice. Well, they made it with that Game Boy
GB Studio.
GB Studio.
Yeah.
I have that. It's pretty.
Is
cool.
it easy? Is it easy to use? I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, pretty easy. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool, and it creates actual ROMs that you can put on actual hardware. It's pretty neat. Have you tried the Grimace Shake?
Yes, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not revolutionary.
No,
It's not surprisingly delicious. It's just pretty good.
I wasn't a huge fan of it, but then again, I'm not the biggest fan of artificial.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
Should we spoil what the flavor is?
It's like a berry.
It's like grape.
Okay.
It's like grape berry kind of whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of artificial grape.
Yeah, that is the biggest flaw, is that it is a McDonald's milkshake.
Yeah. Well, because they mix everything has that vanilla base, so you're not just getting grape, you're getting grape vanilla, and
there's no actual like milk in there.
it's all
powder.
It's powdered. Yeah.
For a McDonald's milkshake, it was pretty okay.
Yeah. Now my question is, are they going to bring back Uncle Grimace, the Shamrock
Oh, the
Shake
Shamrock
Grimace?
Shake, Matt. They should.
Yeah.
They missed their chance, though. That was March.
That's true. Well, maybe. Hey, you know what? We get the year of Grimace. It's
They'll have record low profits, just like the year of Luigi.
we're in our Grimace era right now. Okay. Last thing, and this is one that I kind of wanted to get into a little bit. So HBO Max has rebranded and to just Max.
Max, the one to get for HBO.
It's the Max. You know, it's where everybody from Saved by the Bell went to eat their French fries.
It's MTV's The Max.
Oh God, the Max. Yeah, but no. Along with that, they've been,
No, that's probably on Paramount Plus, actually.
It probably is, and that was a pretty good show. It's pretty faithful to the comic. Anyway, we've reported on it before, but HBO Max or the Max or whatever. I'm going to keep calling it HBO Max because that's what it is.
There was no good reason for them to drop the HBO part. If anything, that is the more brand recognition part of the name was the HBO part.
People don't know what Max is.
The Max was the part to get rid of, and of course they did it wrong.
And they didn't. If they were smart, they would have just called it HBO Discovery. HBO Discover, because that's what it is. Anyway, they've been pulling a lot of their shows off of Max because David Zaslav, the president, does not see the value of anything ever. And the most recently, in fact, this was just today, it was reported that Space Ghost Coast to Coast, the Adult Swim, I guess it wasn't technically Adult Swim because it was before.
It was on before Adult Swim was a thing.
It was the forefather of Cartoon Network's Adult Swim animation block, which gave us a million really good shows and also Squidbillies.
I like Squidbillies.
Squidbillies was okay. I couldn't think of 12-ounce mouse.
Yeah, 12-ounce mouse is the one you wanted.
That's the one I wanted to say, but I couldn't think of it in time, so I just said Squidbillies. Anyways, they removed all of Space Ghost Coast to Coast from the Max, and I really think that is a net negative. It kind of brings to the forethought for me preservation of media.
Yeah, when all this streaming stuff started with all these huge libraries, we never thought there'd be a time where it would go away.
It would go away, and yet
just
here
not
we
the
are.
way it should work, but yeah.
Yeah, things disappear for little to no reason.
On the whims of some billionaire turd.
Yeah. And it sucks that, we're going to lose. I mean, Space Ghost Coast to Coast on its face, it's a dumb show, but it was a dumb show that was very important.
Yeah, it was a dumb groundbreaking.
It was a dumb
program.
groundbreaking show that brought forth so many other great shows.
If it weren't for Space Ghost, there wouldn't be like a Rick and Morty. That wouldn't be a thing.
If it weren't, you know what? If it weren't for Space Ghost Coast to Coast, there would be no Harley Quinn, which is right now the big moneymaker for the HBO Max app. Because without Space Ghost Coast to Coast, you wouldn't have things like Harvey Birdman. You could see elements of Harvey Birdman in
Harley Quinn.
You could see elements of Venture Brothers. I mean, Harley Quinn could turn a corner and Doc Venture could be right there and it would fit and it would work. Well, you wouldn't have that awful Velma show that HBO
is getting a second season
that they seem to love so much, which
if
sucks.
If Josh were here, I would say this is all your fault, man.
He's not here to defend himself, so it is all his fault. We are placing the blame squarely on Josh Harrison
for hate watching
like
we told him not to do.
But no, I just think we need to get better about preservation of media, and not just like TV shows, but movies, the games, that sort of thing. There are so many movies that came out in the 80s, 90s, and I mean, a lot of them were trash, but just because they weren't good doesn't mean they shouldn't exist. And the other day I got a wild hair and tried to go watch the Saturday Morning Supercade, the old Donkey Kong and Mario cartoon and Q*bert and stuff like that.
Is missing.
Gone, just gone, and it's not coming back. And I mean, the big one is, of course, Doctor Who. There's big chunks of that, but the difference is at that time they weren't thinking about home media.
They didn't know better at
They
the
didn't
time.
know better.
Now
but
they should know better.
Now they should know better, and yet they're not. I mean, for the longest time, the Batman Adam West series was just straight not available. And I mean, that was more licensing than anything.
Yeah, you'd
but
have to hope it was on syndication somewhere.
Yeah.
This is your best chance at seeing it.
It was the only chance you'd have. And, it just makes you go, okay, well, what kind of physical media can I get for these things? Or I hope someone has backed up everything that's been on streaming somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nebulous.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to resort to piracy to watch this stuff. But
You shouldn't,
sometimes,
but a lot of times you have to.
sometimes it's your only choice.
Yeah. And it's sad. And it's going to take something big, like, say, Lost. They decide
The Office.
The Office.
Can you imagine if there was suddenly nowhere you could legally watch The Office?
Yeah. People
There
would be
w-
outraged.
There would be
and then
fires
people would
in the
care.
streets.
Yeah. But
I can't believe Disney Plus took down the new Willow already.
Oh, sure.
You can't watch that anymore. It's a tax write-off now.
yeah. Well, that really awesome documentary series they did on Marvel Comics and various other things. It included the documentary on Japanese Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that
Gone.
was really good.
Removed.
Oh,
Gone. You
that was
can't-
a really good documentary, too.
It was a really good documentary series. They did a lot of stuff. I mean, it had that really good Paul Scheer episode where he was like finding a bunch of weird, obscure characters to try to bring back in a gritty way. It was half jokey, but it was also bringing up, hey, these are characters that were used maybe 3 times in a 20-year span and have been sitting on the shelf. Why don't we make something out of that?
They're kind of lost media in their
They're
own
kind of lost
right.
media. Yeah. So I don't know. I think as a collective, we need to do better with archiving stuff because if we don't, it's going to disappear. And if people are too reliant on a digital and whatever, it's just going to be gone.
I wish Disney could work out the rights to Muppets Tonight and get that on Disney Plus.
I would too. That would
It
be
was such a good show. And-
Muppets Tonight was great. That was my televised Muppets.
Yeah. And I always see clips of it here or there, like on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're always so funny. And it's like, just let me sit down and watch the whole thing back to front, please.
Yeah, I would love to watch some of the other stuff, like the I've been rewatching the Defunctland documentary things here lately. But there was like Little Muppet Monsters that was like a thing that for like 3 or 4 episodes that's just gone. There's which was like a spinoff of Muppet Babies. There was that weird the Jim Henson Hour.
Yeah.
That wasn't, from what I understand, wasn't the best, his finest work, but a lot
But
of it doesn't exist anymore.
It's the only place you can see Waldo C. Graphic or whatever.
Waldo C. Graphic and that weird like robot guy. Yeah, but still, it's just because it wasn't great doesn't mean it shouldn't exist.
Especially when you're dealing with a creator like Jim Henson, where everything he did has at least some value.
It has some merit
Yeah.
at the very least. But yeah. And I mean, even a lot of the old Sam and Friends stuff, early days, is gone. There's like 2 or 3 episodes of that, and that's it. And he did that for years. But again, didn't know better at the time. But yeah, preserve your stuff. Buy a DVD every now and then.
Yeah.
Keep things. You never know when your favorite thing's going to be gone. And if you don't have a way to get it back, you're going to be stuck.
These companies don't care if you have a way to watch your favorite show or not. They do not care.
They do not care. Nope. All right, with that, let's go ahead and wrap things up for the week. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com, as well as various other social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Patreon. Technically, we have a TikTok, although we haven't done anything. You could see me reverse eat a piece of paper saying that we're streaming. And that was maybe my best video on there.
We might have to do the 1 chip challenge.
We
at
might
some
have to
point.
do that at some point. Yeah, I'll ruin myself for a night. I don't work on Fridays. It's okay.
Well, you can email us at staff@nerdoverload.com.
Let us know if we should do the 1 chip challenge. You could also call us on the Nerd Overload hotline, 419-561-5556. Leave us a voicemail. Say, I want that 1 chip challenge.
I'll even set up a camera. I'll figure it out.
No.
I'll figure it out or something. I don't know. You can also find all our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. Finally, I'd like to thank Parker for helping us out with the Facebook page. Again, thank you to Josh Nealis for coming on the show. Check all of his stuff out at Cutthroat
always
Comics.
A good time.
Always a good time. And David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
If even one person calls to request the one chip that's not us or an immediate family member, I'll do it.
BJ, we're talking to you.